Hi there, everyone. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolie Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to today's show. It's more deep diving into Yeshua and the Essenes, and John's going to tell us more about it.
Yeah, I can't get enough of this story. I've been continuing to research this throughout the week, and our show this week is based on one of the things that really fascinated me because we have this three-part process which we've heard about from Alariel, which is all about the light, okay, the technology of light, and how is something that will transform this planet. But to bring it to us is a three-step process. And there was the original foundations of it back in the times of Atlantis. The second point of that was the crucifixion of Jesus. And that really interested me. Like how could that event that stands in time like as all the religious, any of the Christian religions anyway, focus on that moment as being the biggest sacrifice and everything that Jesus died on the cross to save mankind for his sins and all that. Um, but was it something different? And then finally, you get to the era which is now, today, part three of a three-part process, which we are entering right now, or we have entered. I believe we've entered it. We're going through it now. And it's exciting because all the noise in the background, the chaos and everything you see in the world around you is part of this. This is the old energies playing out and old karma being repaid because there is going to be a transformation. The transformation, the metamorphosis, we're in that process. So I thought this week we would dive down deep into the Yeshua side of things and learn more again about the Essenes, as Jolie said, about the process around Yeshua for the crucifixion. And having gone into this myself personally, I thought, wow, my mind was just blown by what I learned. And I thought, this is actually really empowering for us in the here and now. So it's not just historical. This is something that tells us about the power that we have and how we can use that to elevate consciousness, how we can become what we are destined to become, which I believe is something pretty special. So, that's it. We're going to continue with the work of Stuart Wilson and Joanna Prentice. And the books, we were looking previously at Power of the Magdalene, which is an amazing piece of work. And this one is the book that was prior to that, which was The Essenes, Children of the Light. And really what this all comes down to, just to remind anybody who's not been around for looking at the previous programs, this is all about the use of hypnotic regression to go back into lives. And it's amazing how, whether you're talking about, Dolores Cannon as somebody who was kind of an instigator with this, who created the hypnosis that really created so much interest across so many subjects, whether it was the work with Nostradamus, whether it was the Convoluted Universe series, the three waves of volunteers coming to this planet. It was really groundbreaking stuff. Now, okay, if you are skeptical and cynical, you could turn around and say, well, it's just hypnosis and this is people telling a story. And you have to exercise your own judgment on that. I know I've exercised mine, and I'm pretty confident that the way that I look at things now is completely opened up because you think about things from a historical context and you're looking back over thousands of years, and very, learned people are drawing conclusions about information that has been left behind and drawing the conclusions that come to them as being what could be the truth. Now, that's all well and good, and they do excellent work. But what is better than that is actually speaking to somebody who is alive at that time, who you can have a conversation with across space and time, and they can report to you exactly what the truth is and what is happening around them and why it's happening. That's exactly what these books are about. That's why it's so fascinating because You think back, history books, all this kind of thing, there's a lot of supposition there. And they do say, the truth is always written by the victors. So they are always sort of, and again, you've only got to look at the Bible, right? The Bible is a very distorted book. Because there is an agenda at play across much of it. Some of it, I'm sure, is absolutely true to what it was supposed to be, but a great deal of it is distorted. So, what better way than to look at these things through the eyes of somebody who was there at that time who can answer that question? And it's amazing how the right people turn up to the right hypnotists, if you like, because that's where it worked with Dolores Cannon. It's the way it works with Sarah Breskman Cosme. And it's also the way that it's worked with Joanna and Stuart working together on this. They've come across so many people who were in the Essene communities, and it's not by accident. It's because it is of this time. And many of those Essenes are coming back right now. And in fact, I was only reading about this bit today. There was a recognition by Daniel Ben Ezra, who is the main spokesperson for the Essenes during this particular show today. So Daniel Ben Ezra was explaining, like later on in the book, how they know everything happens in certain cycles, and there is like a 2,000-year cycle after which he was fully expecting the Essenes to come back at that time because they knew that was going to be an important time. That is what's happening here. That information that's coming forward is coming forward with a purpose and coming forward with a reason. So, Jolie, before I babble on anymore, can I bring you back in?
And part of the distortion is us thinking that we are not expansive enough to understand or accept people who are channeling these energies. And so we really challenge you to open your mind and your heart to understanding that the Creator speaks to all and through all, and these energies are moving through all of us. And just like they are hearing and they're sharing with you and us this message and this energy, it is also possible for you and I to have this energy move through us and add more value to the spiritual and emotional development of mankind. John has really taught me so much about this because I cloud ride so much that oftentimes grounding and really getting into the science behind some of these things, or the tangible science behind some of these things, is not my jam. I'm more in the energy. But the fact that we're able to start to unpack some of this, put the puzzle pieces together, really helps our liberation. So let's just open our heart and minds and listen to what this is telling us and take really all the good and just leave on the table what it is that doesn't work for you.
Yeah, no, that's always the case, isn't it? We never
Yeah,
ask anybody to believe what we say. It's kind of
yeah,
what resonates with you. That's the thing anything that doesn't resonate, just leave it behind.
exactly.
That's really what it comes down to. We always share our truth, but our truth is ours. Everybody is
Yeah.
a sovereign being for a reason. So yeah, great.
And another thing I just want to add before we
Mm,
move on is that sometimes religion makes us rigid, right? But we know the spirit to be movable and interchangeable. It's a living, moving, breathing thing we're all a part of. It's alive. So the restrictions sometimes that we are taught and the programming, we're being asked in this day and age to let go of some of that, really critically think and open up that portal between the mind and the heart. And what does that look like? That kind of resonates. That kind of makes sense versus maybe I need to drop that belief system because where I'm going, that doesn't serve me. So this is a beautiful journey. So I'm ready, John.
excellent, excellent. Yeah, and talking about the ability to cut through the rubbish, if you like, you want to call it that, just to be polite.
Yes.
We have Sean the Shaman with us, who is somebody who, for our own channel, which is Cottage of the Priest, she does cut through it, and she has a great way with her, for her expressing energy. And it's great to have you here with us, Sean.
Yes. Thank you,
Always,
Sean.
yeah, and love your work as well. So, okay, we're going to go and hit that button now, Jola. Yeah,
Let's go.
here we go.
We now moved forward in time. It was towards the end of Jesus' ministry, and the Essenes were meeting in a large cave, which was to the north of Jerusalem. Here is Daniel's account of this gathering.
It is a big meeting in this cave, in a remote and hilly place, and it's at night. The cave and the ways leading to it are well guarded, so we will not be surprised by anyone. We are sitting in a circle, maybe about 30 people. In front of us are lamps so that we can see the faces. The only other light is coming from the middle of the circle, where there is a huge round crystal. It's pale purple in color and is glowing. There are people here from all the communities, as well as the core group. This is a special place, a sacred place, and we've been meditating here for some time before anyone speaks. Members of the core group are talking about Jesus and his next step forward. They either call it his ritual death experience or sometimes simply his process. So we're discussing the preparations that have to be made, the effort which has been put in, and the possibility of succeeding. And it's a very special process he will be going through, focusing on the use of the love energies through the heart. This is a new energy, a cosmic energy, which is being brought in and demonstrated so that others can see how to use it. It is capable of taking people through a process of spiritual transformation in a direct way, which is quite different from the complex methods used in the past. Jesus is marking out a new path, a broad new road into the light. It is not certain that he will be able to achieve this, but the members of the core group are optimistic. They seem to talk from much deeper knowledge than we possess. We all hope it will work. We understand that it will help human development if it succeeds, but it's not certain. There are doubts, and some of us have more doubts than others. We can see it in theory. It's being explained to us. We hope it will work, and we'll do what we can to assist, but it's not at all certain. So the plan is being laid before us. Jesus will go forward and act out in public the climax of the mystery school teaching. He will go through a mock trial, be crucified, and bring all the energies together into a synthesis. He will need a massive amount of support to sustain him while all this is proceeding. I just wish we had the certainty of the core group. We will go forward with high hopes, but also much anxiety. So, there's a lot of support needed now, a lot of focusing and building up of the energy in order to help in this process. We're using the energy lines connecting the communities. We have been gathering crystals for some time and working on the sites, linking them together and activating them. This huge crystal here in the cave is one of the focal points in this energy system. The plan has been put forward, and we've discussed it, and it's generally agreed. There will be group leaders who lead the meditation in their communities. The meditational energy will be generated and directed to Jesus at higher levels, so he will have both this higher energy and the energy through the system with the crystals. There are crystals in patterns to hold the energy, and the energy of each of the community sites leads into the central area. Triangles flowing into a central triangle to make a complete energy system. There was an inner and an outer energy system. The outer energy, generated by the Earth, focused and intensified by crystals, was directed along lines of force running across the surface of the land toward Jesus on the cross. This enabled the energy levels in his body to be maintained. The inner meditational energy was fed by the communities into subtle levels for directing to Jesus. Together, these two sources provided a complete system of support. The inner energy sustained and nourished the higher aspects of his being, and particularly their link with the physical body. It was essential that this link was strongly maintained until his energy process was completed.
And the outer system using earth energies. What points form the central triangle in this?
The central triangle was formed by Jerusalem, the main focus of this drama, Qumran, and the cave.
And the cave was to the north of Jerusalem.
In a hilly area well to the north, it formed a roughly equal-sided triangle with Qumran and Jerusalem.
This was a vital clue for us. It would place the cave almost halfway between Jericho and the town of Silwad, just to the north of the modern road which connects these two places. It is even today a remote area, and we could see that it would have served the Essenes well as the secret location for an important meeting cave. Looking at the overall pattern, it was now clear what Daniel meant by triangles flowing into a central triangle. When we were able to step back and look at the whole system as identified on the map, we were amazed at the distances involved. This energy system runs for over 120 miles. To work with what we would now call ley lines in the establishment of such a system must have been a major undertaking. We are not experts in earth energies, but we have friends who are, and they tell us that working with the energies in this way takes a lot of time and effort. How could the Essenes have possibly been able to think that far ahead? When I asked Daniel about that, this was his reply.
The original plan came from the Kalu, and our people started working with the earth energies in alignment with this plan as soon as the communities were set up.
We found this quite extraordinary, and it led on to other questions. Why would the Kalu have encouraged the Essenes to set up such an energy system, a system that would have involved years of work, the use of rare and expensive crystals, and the constant danger of discovery? Had they foreseen a specific need at the time of Jesus? This must have been a big undertaking for the communities to set up such a system.
Yes, it was a vast project. Most of the basics had been put in place before my lifetime. A lot of effort was put in over many years, strengthening the energy lines so that the power could be concentrated. The work had to be done very quietly and secretly so as not to attract the attention of the other Jews.
And how long did all this take?
The whole operation lasted about 150 years. The Kalu started assessing and developing the sites as soon as they arrived in the region. It was a priority for them to develop this energy system. The system was based on the natural energy lines that run along the surface of the earth, with additions and strengthening of the patterns, making a truer geometrical form through the use of crystals.
Did the Kalu set up this system for general use, or were they making preparations for a special event?
It was quite specific. They knew another teacher of righteousness would come, and this would be needed when his work reached a climax. The Kalu were wise indeed. They knew what was to come and made preparations accordingly. We did not know the detail of their future knowledge, but they spoke of a great teacher of righteousness who was to come, and that all this work would support him. That was enough for us. We were content to carry out their plans. You do not question wise and holy beings who are far above you, and who can see the pattern of things more clearly than you can.
So there it is. The Kalu had foreseen the coming of Jesus and the need for a support system at the end of his ministry. And they worked with the Essenes over more than a century to put this support system in place. We were interested to get some confirmation of work upon the energy system from another source, John reliving his life as Luke. I was asking him what his work was, and among other things, Luke said this.
I was working with crystals. walking the earth energy lines to make them stronger, to build them up.
You say lines. Where did these lines go to?
They connected the communities and certain other power points. They worked together to form a complete system.
If the Kalu came from Atlantis, they would have had great skill in the use of crystals, and the construction of such an energy grid does not seem so remarkable in the light of Atlantean knowledge and technology. What was remarkable was the difficult conditions under which the Essenes had to work. The inner triangle in the system was particularly interesting. It connected the large crystal in Qumran, the crystal in the cave, and Jesus on the cross. In a sense, Jesus was the third crystal, the focal point for all these forces. A teacher who has been an inspiration to our whole group, Anne Hughes, once said to us that Christos is the crystal. We never understood this at the time, but that statement fits perfectly within this larger perspective.
So, what I really find incredible about this, the story we have, obviously, of Jesus, going through his ministry, the fact that he was hounded down, that he was, crucified by those who didn't want him to get his message out there. And yet, we now learn that 150 years before the crucifixion, they were planning the energetic event that was to be that crucifixion, which was a vital part of this process that is impacting us today, that is now of its time. Part 3 of a 3-part process, that was part 2. And it just blew my mind to kind of realize 150 years. It was the Kalu, that Atlantean wisdom that stepped forward, that created the Essene community in the first place, which was all about peace and harmony and balance, which was not the way it was typically in that region at that time. Because they knew that the teacher of righteousness was going to turn up. They knew when he was going to turn up. And they knew that they would need an energetic support system to get him through this crucifixion, which we come to next. So hang on to your hats, because this gets ever more interesting. So, and Yeshua himself was the third crystal in the triangle. So crystal, Qumran, crystal in the cave, he was Christos, right? Christos meaning crystal. And this really got me thinking. I've heard it so many times, is that the human evolution that we are going to go through, call it a metamorphosis, involves us becoming more crystalline in nature, okay? We're carbon-based human forms at the moment, okay? The DNA, I assume, again, is that carbon-based, but that's what I've heard, is the DNA element of this becomes more crystalline because the crystalline energy can hold a higher frequency, therefore, and a higher depth, and which is why the crystal children who are coming to the planet right now and have been for a little while, they are there to circulate this energy. They are there to continue this, to be able to teach it. So as teachers, they're coming in again with that higher crystalline frequency because they are light conceived, which means that they have the mother's 2 strands of DNA, but the other 2 strands of DNA comes from spirit rather than from the man. That the man has just an imprint of his consciousness into the light, into the light conception. And that enables them to come in because the crystal children are the ones who have lived in past lives in civilizations where the technology of light, which is what this is all about, this is bringing us the technology of light, because that is a real evolutionary step. So many of these children are coming from civilizations in different parts of the universe where technology of light has been used and understood for hundreds of years. So they will become our teachers. And we have the opportunity to learn from them and for us to become more crystalline. But it's all about frequencies, right? It's all about frequencies, because it's not about how spiritual you are, because you may not have a spiritual bone in your body. But if you are a person who, again, is just naturally a good person, who is kind and compassionate and cares for others, cares for animals or whatever, that's a higher frequency. I mean, you can claim to be spiritual and actually be way off course because, you get involved in spiritual hierarchy or whatever. So it's about the frequency at which you're resonating. So I find that really amazing. But the fact that Christ was the Christos, and the fact is, we are going to be Christ's ourselves. And in fact, if you go back to the excerpt that from Yeshua in Pamela Cribb's insertion into Your Soul's Gift, which was Robert Schwartz's book, where Yeshua actually said that you will become Christ's yourselves. In other words, we are becoming Christos, which means we're becoming that more crystalline structure, the ability to hold more light. That's why this is a metamorphosis. This is not just a slight change. This is a change of everything. This is a shift of the ages, and that's what makes it so exciting. And it also kind of reminds me about that thing I mentioned a few times, but it's the Saratoga Ocean who channels Archangel Michael. And actually, Archangel Michael comes into the crucifixion side of things that comes up next as well as a point of interest. But he talks about the dimensional shift and the fact that we're going through this time of contraction. It's this funnel, and we're getting closer to this end of the funnel where it's getting narrower and narrower. So time speeds up, everything becomes more and more chaotic. Then you go through the point of singularity or the portal, and you come out the other side into rapid expansion, but a higher dimension. So everyone who goes through that portal needs to be able to resonate at a frequency which is adjacent to where we're going. So that means that we have to be like on this journey of higher frequency kind of thing. And, Jolie will talk more about this, but I think that that makes sense to me as well. And, this thing about the originals and the crystals, and again, Jolie and I had a discussion before we started the program. The originals, I assume I'm an original, which an original means that somebody has been earthbound in sort of embodied on Earth through many lifetimes. Now, but even then, I know that even as an original at Earth, assuming that to be the case, we have galactic roots. We have a galactic family. We all do. We all do, every single one of us. We will have been living on certain other planets as well. In our evolutionary energy, we would have, I mean, again, through Dolores Cannon's Convoluted Universe, you hear so much about this. You don't even have to be in a physical body. You can be any form of energy, and that's a lot of her clients were regressed to lives which were completely nothing to do with a physical form, or even a light body for that matter. So that's kind of something that we bear in mind. But yeah, this is all about being able to break through this separation, this separation consciousness back into unity consciousness, going out of the duality of the mind into the unity of the heart. That is what we're stepping into right now. I think it's really exciting, but I'm going to shut up now because I need to bring in Jolie. Jolie, what do you think?
You see, we could just go on and on and on and on. It just moves on. But it's okay because as it's coming through, it's beautiful that we're able to share and add value. And you might ask yourself, you talk about resonating at a higher frequency and vibration. What does that mean? What does that look like for me on an individual level? How do I get there? We, for so long, have been suppressing what is going on inside of us because quite a bit of it is nasty, wrong, and parasitical. So we hear these, voices in our head, and we know better than to say anything about them or to verbalize, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of move on. No, stop that. I'm not saying verbalize, but what I am saying is say that's a thought I no longer need. That's a ism, right? Any of the ones that happen to be an ism, you see something and then automatically you drop into judgment and labeling. Stop, right? At that moment. That's that moment of where John talks about where it's real narrow and then the rapid expansions on the other side. But in a microcosm, this is how you would do it. It's a process of understanding how you're thinking. It's not serving you. Take a moment to recognize that and go, uh-uh. we're going to choose something different at this moment. Why are you here? You're a mind parasite. Let me get you out of here. Let me bring in my roses, scrape them out or pull it out and put it in a rose, blow it up, fill up with gold light. But in the meantime, deal with those thoughts, those nasties that come in, those mind parasites, right? Get rid of them. Then, how do we then up level and resonate? We open up the portal between our heart and our mind and our heart, and then we resonate and we see how it feels to love. I notice sometimes with my clients and just with people in my life, and even with me, I stand at the front of the line. People want to come in and hug me. They want to come in and give me good energy. They want to come in, they want to compliment me. And the first thing I want to do, even people want to offer me more money. The first thing I want to do, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. No, oh, you're pretty too. Own it. Like, let it in. Let it in. Oh, somebody says you're beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. That's where and that's it. Take it in. Own these things that are good about you. Own the things that you kind of want to step into and stop shying away from the positivity and then seeing a beautiful girl and she has a tattoo. And now we need to focus on the fact, here we go, labeling, judging, instead of embracing her. Like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Why? Because you're noticing and honoring the beauty in you, right? So that's how you begin to up level. And it's helped me a lot. I see beautiful people. I'm the first person to say, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're loving, you're kind, you're gorgeous, you're amazing. Why? Because I want to see that mirrored back to me. So this is how we begin because we have issues. It's okay. Like we've been taught to compete and we need to be the best in the room and the type A, and it gets really ugly out here with that ego-based movement. Nevertheless, drop it in the heart. How does it make you feel? Does her beauty make you feel uncomfortable? Does his intelligence and his willingness to be courageous and step out on stage make you feel a certain way? That's your work. Because you know what? Deep inside, you want the same things, but you're just not willing to work for it. Once again, I'm saying I sit at the front of the line. But the difference is I recognize and I can say to myself, sit down, write it out, do your work, go in nature, let it go, ground, fill up with gold light. So it's a practice. So back to the beginning, these thoughts that we have, we've got to start identifying them, getting out of the fear, and dealing with them one on one. This is not a community event. Up leveling becomes a community event once you up level and now you're willing to get out there and add value. Now you're ready to come into community in a way that you can step to the front. But some of the work requires solitude and negativity and the things that need to kind of be flushed out of your system. There are professionals that can help you deal with that. But on a spiritual level, it's good to recognize and do your own personal work.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, I think these tools are so valuable because this is something that impacts all of us, and therefore having those at your disposal and you can kind of like activate that and just get used to, I suppose, that process.
Yes.
Super empowering.
Yeah. One more thing. Benjamin Franklin, I don't know why I know this, but I wanted to he used to do a thing where he kept a notepad with him or whatever, and every day he would check off when he did what he needed to do. And I feel like maybe getting back to checking off these things 3 times a day, having a list, going through and practicing, even drilling down in a way can really help more. I mean, of course, 99% of us are not going to do that, but Ben Franklin, I mean, some think he was special. We don't know, but whatever, he's impactful. So I'm sure he has some good stuff to give.
I'm beginning my Benjamin Franklin list right now.
There you go. See?
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it does make total sense because it's all about building in those disciplines, isn't it? And
Yeah.
and you have to kind of, embed it first because until it becomes something you don't even think about, you just do it.
Right. That's the point, right? Is to become instead of, and this week in the affirmations, it's all about stepping out of who you are and stepping into who you want to become. And that's kind of an action, and it takes moment to moment. People say a day at a time, but some of these things you got to moment to moment, minute to minute is the best way to kind of take it. Breathe. When you don't know what to do, breathe, and then wait for that message to come in from the divine. And another thing that helped me too, and we'll move on, John, is a lot of the stuff that would strike me as needing work, I would want to externalize it to other people, and burden them with that. And I ask us to take a step back and really work with the divine on these things because the divine and Mother Earth can take it in. Other people, sometimes we have matching pictures, we can trigger them. We can bring people down. And right now, as we move through this time of tightness, it's really what we want is that expansion. So what we want to do is bring joy, bring laughter. Let's try to wake people up. And the rest of the time, you can be the hermit, work
Yeah.
on your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the breathing thing is one of my favorite things to do, I must admit. But the joy thing, right?
Yeah.
The more you get into that elevated frequency of joy, and obviously that part of that challenge is actually not get buying into the narratives that are out there that are designed to challenge you. That's why they're there.
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
it's rising above them and seeing them for what they are because, you know, we are bigger and stronger than that. And that's what many of the controls out there don't want us to realize. It's all a bit of
Right.
a game.
Yeah.
It's a game we
And
can win.
it's you're the answer. We're the answer to our own prayers and to our own. And I know that sounds big, even for me. Like I sit here with some of these concepts, I do wrestle them and I sit in dissonance often, but I try to work through them because even me, when I'm listening to this, there's a part of me that goes, okay, this dude is channeling with this accent and da da da. I just talked about this. I have to sit with the creator works through everything all the time. The spirit, the quantum, it works through everything. It has no limitations. The only limitations are what we give it. So let's try to sit back and get into neutrality. So it's not about accepting or not accepting, it's just about it exists. Does this work for me? You know? If
Hmm.
not, put it down, but no reason to want to stamp it out, right?
Yeah. Do you think it's time we had a crucifixion?
It's been time, John. Just been rambling. Let's move on.
We're going to, I was going to say enjoy a crucifixion, but what we're going to do is understand about the crucifixion, the truth
That's
behind it.
funny.
Yeah, sorry
No,
about that.
well, I mean,
Sorry,
enjoy the
Yeshua.
crucifixion. Yes, because it put us, I guess it helped us if we look at it from that perspective. That was quite funny though.
Sorry, Yeshua. Didn't mean it that way. But here we go. We're going into the story about the crucifixion now. And this enables you to see the whole thing in a different light. So bear with me a second. We're going to switch screens and off we go.
We had been moving steadily through Daniel's story and wondering when he would come to the events surrounding the crucifixion. He said he would be in his community near Hebron at this time, and we were curious to see what sort of impact it would have on him. We rejoined Daniel as the drama was moving toward its climax.
We're meditating, bringing the power up, and Jesus is going through his process. We have a way of watching him without being there. It's called a clear-seeing chamber. Those with the inner sight can go into these chambers, and the clarity of their vision is strengthened through the use of crystals. There are 5 of us in this chamber. We're meditating, focusing power, and observing Jesus. The process is going through, and it's getting heavy because there is quite a struggle going on. We are aware at this point of those who do not wish this project to succeed. They are trying to block the flow of energy so that the power cannot get through from the communities. And because of this, it's becoming more difficult for us. Although we saw the plan clearly, we didn't see the strength of those who oppose us. They haven't succeeded yet, but it has diverted some power to hold them off. The silent one is in the cave, focusing much of this effort, but he's having a struggle. It's getting very dark. Jesus is on the cross and going through his process. It does pass through my mind as I'm watching that maybe this attempt will fail. Those opposing it may overwhelm us, and he may die before he completes the process, before the energies are resolved. He is gathering up and anchoring the energies. He is a great focus for energies, and if he cannot complete the cycle which the energies must go through, then the whole project will fail. Time is doing very strange things. This whole process is not taking much earth time, but because it's such a struggle, it seems to be stretching out into eternity. I think we're starting to lose this battle. We've sent a mental signal to the core group that we've got to have more power. We're just holding it together, and the meditators are getting exhausted. It's draining them. We can't keep this going for much longer.
Here Daniel's voice went down almost to a whisper.
We've got to have more power. The core group have sent out a request for help to the angelic realm, I think to Archangel Michael. I don't know how long he can hold this group together. Some individuals are beginning to crack up with the intense concentration. It really is a battle. The help has come. It's going to be all right. Jesus has managed to complete the energy cycle. It's all done. A great relief to us. He's being taken down from the cross now, and we are leaving the clear-seeing chamber. We had strict orders from the core group to stop watching when Jesus was taken down from the cross. Our part in the process is over, and we must report back to the rest of the community who are meditating in another building. They will be relieved to know that the work with the energies was successfully completed.
Daniel sighed deeply, and I could feel his tension easing.
It was a close thing. The whole plan could easily have gone down. It was Archangel Michael who saved the day. Without his help, who knows what might have happened?
I know you had to report to your community, but afterwards, did you use your inner vision to see what was happening to Jesus?
No, it was forbidden. The core group strictly forbade it. Our part was done. We had to continue with our lives and make no further inquiries about Jesus.
That seems hard.
It was hard. He was like a brother to us, an elder brother who had traveled farther than we along the path. We listened to his wisdom and tried to live his teachings, but now our ways are parting.
At this point, Daniel sighed again. I realized that it must have been a period of great strain for the whole Essene Brotherhood, and asked Daniel to comment on this.
Many of our people gave all they had to give in supporting this process. It wasn't only Jesus who made a sacrifice. 2 people died in the communities, and some were very ill for years afterwards, reduced to a shell of what they had been. It was such a battle.
This was certainly a surprise to us, that others had paid with their lives and their health at that time. It underlined how much of a team effort the whole thing had been. By now we were beginning to see the events around the crucifixion in quite a new way. The drama was there, certainly, but it was a shared drama, and many had played a part in it. Paradoxically, this does not diminish the achievement of Jesus. That he should have succeeded against formidable opposition remains a remarkable accomplishment. I was also able to witness Joseph's perspective on the crucifixion in a separate session with him. It is impossible to convey the depth of emotion felt by Joseph, but I give here an excerpt from that session.
Mary is here beside me, and I have my arm around her. Many years ago, I was asked to support my little sister. I did not understand what that would mean then, but now I know. Mary needs someone to support and understand and protect her. And who better than her brother? It is very hard today seeing Jesus on the cross. We had prepared for this. We knew much of it in advance. But however much you know, nothing prepares you for the reality of it. He was like a son to me. I find it hard to talk of these things.
During a later session, Joseph and Daniel were in dialogue together and were talking of the events following the crucifixion.
Joseph said, "I did not see you again, my old friend, to tell you of these things. Events moved very quickly then, and I had to leave in haste. I had to leave Mary, and this created a great sadness in my heart. But it had to be thus. We had done our work in that place, and there were many partings."
Luke and Roberta had also been present during the crucifixion. In describing this, Roberta said, "We both helped to hold the love energy at that time. Neither of us could afford to get emotional, or we could not have held the energy, and that would have made Jesus' work harder." So all the Essenes in our story were helping at this time, but in different ways. Daniel was focusing the energy in his community. Luke and Roberta were holding the love energy on the hill, and Joseph was comforting and supporting Mary. Once again, the impression is of a team effort. We have seen the work of some members of the team, but there were many more, and some had been working for generations to prepare for this time.
Now, I really honestly find this so fascinating. Now, I wanted to just bring you back to the words of Ilariel, and I'm going to read this out because this came from all about the light, okay, the technology of light. So, what Jeshua said about the crucifixion said that Jeshua anchored this energy in collaboration with Mary Magdalene, and through the initiatory process of the crucifixion. That process brought a great vertical shaft of this energy down into the earth, completing the anchoring and stabilizing this energy into the matrix of this planet. Once that had been done, this energy became accessible to anyone who was open to a process of transformation focused through the heart center. The crystal children will circulate this energy out into the world, bringing it into the consciousness and experience of all people of goodwill. This will make it universally accessible in a way that was not possible in the vibrational conditions of 2,000 years ago. And what is so encouraging about that, I don't think we realize at times just how much the vibration on Earth has risen. Because, we do see a lot of density played out, but it gets exaggerated. The focus is all on the density because it's kind of designed to anchor us down, whereas in reality, we are actually elevating our consciousness. So I do think that, and we know that to be true, because that's how the indigo children, that's how the crystal children, that's how the rainbow children are able to come to the planet now, because the vibrational conditions are right now, which they weren't before. And even going back into the 1940s when the wars broke out, then the conditions were once again, the vibration dropped, and we had to wait until we got back into the 1960s and 70s in particular, when that process could begin. So I think that, there's so much to look forward to in this. We had, again, that three-step process, the focusing, which took place in Atlantis, the anchoring, which took place with Jeshua, Mary Magdalene, the Essenes, the Kalu, who were working on this, and ultimately the Melchizedeks as well, who were kind of there working with the Kalu, and so therefore indirectly with the Essenes. So, and then the circulating, which takes place through the crystal children, who are there to elevate consciousness here, and to be the teachers for us so that we can elevate our consciousness as well. The other thing I wanted to mention to you as well about Joseph of Arimathea, You can imagine how emotionally draining it was for so many people, but not just emotionally draining, because, people really did, suffer because of that. And some even lost their lives because of the energy they had to put into creating this point of time of energy to support Yeshua, who was on the cross. So, but Joseph of Arimathea fled to England after the crucifixion because he was being sought out. And basically, the fact that if he'd have been hanging around the Essene community, then they would have all they'd have met a worse fate very quickly. So he had to get out of the way. And it always interested me about why the interest in England to that degree. I know that he was a merchant. I know that they used to use the tin, and that's why he became one of the wealthiest men in the world with one of the biggest fleets, because tin was the component that you were mixed with copper to make bronze, which was really hugely in demand around the world, particularly in Roman times, and that was important to them. And there's something, right? And I've mentioned this before. There is an account in this book here, which was referenced by Dolores Cannon. This book, which first came out in 1961, and the final edition, which this one is, was like about 1972. This one talks about the move of Joseph of Arimathea and Mary, mother of Jesus, and everybody ending up in Avalon, as was at the time, which is Glastonbury as is now. In fact, if you look at the cover there, you see a picture of Glastonbury Abbey as you would see it today, which is just, a shadow of what it was. But that's the big building in the background. The small building in the foreground was what was qualified as the original church, Christian church, except it wasn't intended as a church. It was a healing room. And it was interesting because if you listen to what follows through in the chapters that follows this in the book, they were saying they were never intended to be churches. It was not, you don't need churches. So it wasn't Joseph of Arimathea's way. It wasn't the disciples' way, but to create churches. That wasn't the original teaching. Because that puts a middleman effectively between you and God, and you don't need that. So anyway, I digress. Now, it was explained in that book that Joseph of Arimathea, Mary Magdalene, Mary, mother of Jesus, and a whole crew of others, disciples and people around Yeshua, were set out into the ocean in a boat without oars, without rudder, without sails, and just left adrift so that they would die. And then the boat gets carried on a current and lands on the on the coastline at Gaul. Now, during this regression into Joseph of Arimathea's personality, going back to that time, that Joanne specifically asked that question: how did you get to the coast of England? He said, well, I had one of my ships pick me up, and I didn't hang around. I got on the ship and I went back to England. And so then she asked about this question about, there was this story that the boat had actually, been this rudderless boat and had been pushed out into the, towed out into the ocean kind of thing. And he laughed and he said, what you got to realize is that was actually a false trail that was laid. That story was told and it was agreed with the Romans. Okay, because they needed the people in the Holy Land to believe that, because then they would stop going after them. And the Romans were only interested in maintaining the tin trade, so they didn't want anything to happen to Joseph of Arimathea. So they were happy to accept that story. So that story ended up sat in the Vatican as being the way that things were. And of course, George Jowett, who wrote the book, did his research at the Vatican and found that. So he actually replicated that story. So the other reason why Joseph of Arimathea ended there, not going back there, was because his mother, Joseph's mother, was actually from that part of the world. She was a Celt. She was like a Celtic princess who married Joseph of Arimathea's father, who actually began the trading business going back into that earlier generation. And in fact, she was apparently a very, very holy person. And she was the mother of Mary, the mother of Jesus. So, it's an amazing story once you start to get into this. And it's all about the fact that Joseph of Arimathea had family there. He had family, as well as a lot of Druidic friends and Celts and the like. So that was the reason why the south of England there was so important to this story. And the last thing I want to mention here really focuses in on focused prayer and the power of meditation, because that's what this comes down to. This 150 years of setting up this power grid to feed Yeshua the power that he needed after he'd done his work with Mary Magdalene, so that he was energetically absolutely, in this Christos phase where he could actually do this, but he needed the assistance from the energy lines and from all the people meditating. And it worked, okay? As Alariel said, that great vertical shaft of this energy down into the earth happened. But it was a struggle because there were the dark forces that were trying to stop them from getting there. And as you can hear from Daniel's words, he hadn't realized just how much opposition there was going to be. So it really took it out of them to a point where a couple of them actually died. Now, I had an interesting conversation with a gentleman called Jim Bennett, who is an American, actually, as it happens originally, but he's been over here for, I don't know how many, at least 50 years, because 50 years, he's had 50 years as a Wicca priest. And he is an amazing guy. And one of the things he was telling me, which was purely coincidental that he mentioned this, but during the Second World War, you know, the UK was about to be invaded by Hitler and the armies because they'd reached the coast of France. It was expected they would be coming over. England was preparing themselves for that. But apparently, there were a lot of people who were very much on the right wavelength who got together in the New Forest of England, which I know that part of the world very well. It's a beautiful part of the world, the South. In fact, Pam Gregory lives there. But anyway, during the Second World War, they got together to energetically meditate to actually prevent the invasion by Germany into England. And it was so intense. They had to work at it so hard that some people actually died during this process because it was so draining to them. The same way as the Essenes found when they were feeding that energy to Yeshua. So how amazing is that? But it just shows the power that we have, that when we align our energies and come together in focused meditation, focused prayer, whatever you want to call it, it's amazing what you can achieve. So, with that said, this is all about meditation and prayer. And at that point, I want to bring Jolie back in for her thoughts.
Of course, meditation and prayer, you know how I feel about that. And let's not let me be a lesson to everyone to meditate while you are in a state of goodness and your life is working. You don't want the spirit to have to force you into meditating and into focused prayer, right? By making something happen in your life that brings you to that. Let's just go there naturally, right? Focused prayer is something that can be done anywhere while you're driving instead of moving into a frustrated state like we do. We are kind of programmed to hate traffic. But the thing is, it's such a beautiful thing. We have this highway that gets us to and from where we want to go, and everybody's able to use it. It's free. We start complaining. Now we have to pay for a lane, and it just gets complicated. But if you move with love, and you focus and you pray towards positive what you want around the other people, it moves faster. Your life gets in the fast lane. Your life begins to go quantum. But what's the rub? We have to sit in that energy on a regular basis. That's why I say moment to moment. So we talk about meditation and we think we have to, I need to get in my meditation room and sit on my pillow and and no. All you have to do is take 5 minutes and regroup. It means breathing. It means bringing your awareness to your chest. It could take a moment, ground your energy, pull your aura in, higher self above you. It can mean opening your heart and seeing love onto that person, onto that situation. And it could very well be just loving yourself, hugging yourself, making sure you're flossing. That's a meditation in and of itself, is doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do. So turn that into something that is ritualistic in the way in which it's a practice that adds to you resonating at a higher frequency and vibration. Why? Because when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm sending love to my mother. I'm sending love to my teeth, my body. I'm seeing it go out into the universe. How long did that take? 30 seconds, 2 minutes, brushing your teeth. So it becomes something to where you don't have to get into this position and put on your robe. It's an action that's with you all day, every day. And what does it do? It raises your frequency and vibration. And it also creates a nice energy in the room for you and everyone else, because what you're doing is you're raising the vibration in that room, and then people kind of have to match it or they fall away. So that's the beauty of Mr. Bennett and his drilling down and recognizing that through meditation, and then giving us an example of how powerful it is, because you talked about how during World War II there was a situation that has come to the surface,
Mm, absolutely. It is
right?
amazing because I hadn't even mentioned anything about what we were covering this Sunday with Jim, and he just told me that story. I thought, wow,
Yeah,
that is amazing because that is
yeah,
exactly what I'd just been editing for this Sunday's show. It just shows. And I said to him as well, because we talked again about the fact that there's a grid for light workers out there where we
yeah,
make connections and automatically it's just like a close connection. It's not just, "Oh, I never met you before. I don't know much about you. A
yeah.
little bit, stand off, just trying to work it out. But no, there's just an openness about it immediately. And that was kind of the conversation I had with Jim. It was really fun. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to tap into Jim's knowledge a little bit more of these next few months as well, I feel. But anyway, everything you said, Jolie, to me, I thought was wonderful there, and I
Thank you,
totally
Sean.
concur with it
Yeah,
as well because
it's
it elevates your own frequency all the time.
yeah, yeah. It's just about remembering to do it, because we're so much. That's a part of also regulating our nervous system. I want to put this on the table for people. Give yourself enough time to do what you need to do before you need to show up for other people. Oftentimes, we don't want to show up, right? So we wait till the last minute to do what we need to do sometimes. And it's not about the situation, the person where you need to show up. It's about you taking care of you. So I just ask people to just remember, when you get fast, take a breath and slow down. Regulate your nervous system by slowing down and taking your time to breathe and to move through your whatever it is you have to do with intention and consciousness, because I know for me, through my day, a lot of it is road and I'm running through it very fast, and I'm running into things, I'm dropping things, I'm forgetting things. This is showing you, hey, you need to sit down, take a breath, and regulate your nervous system.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
important.
what do you think? Regulating our nervous system through the gift of meditation in a few
Yes,
moments? Yeah.
yes, let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay, everybody, we're going to go back and just repeat a little section there from today's show just to give us the alignment and the wisdom to lead us into Jolie's words of wisdom that follow. So bear with me a second. We are going to switch screens.
So there it is. The Kalu had foreseen the coming of Jesus and the need for a support system at the end of his ministry. And they worked with the Essenes over more than a century to put this support system in place. We were interested to get some confirmation of work upon the energy system from another source. John, reliving his life as Luke. I was asking him what his work was, and among other things, Luke said this.
I was working with crystals, walking the earth energy lines to make them stronger, to build them up.
You say lines. Where did these lines go to?
They connected the communities and certain other power points. They worked together to form a complete system.
If the Kalu came from Atlantis, they would have had great skill in the use of crystals, and the construction of such an energy grid does not seem so remarkable in the light of Atlantean knowledge and technology. What was remarkable was the difficult conditions under which the Essenes had to work. The inner triangle in the system was particularly interesting. It connected the large crystal in Qumran, the crystal in the cave, and Jesus on the cross. In a sense, Jesus was the third crystal, the focal point for all these forces. A teacher who has been an inspiration to our whole group, Anne Hughes, once said to us that Christos is the crystal. We never understood this at the time, but that statement fits perfectly within this larger perspective.
Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and exhale. Do this a few times, and each time on the exhale, relax your body. Close your eyes if they aren't already, and I want you to connect with your spine. Just visualize your spine. This is your nervous system, part of it. I just want you to breathe into your spine. Allow your body to tell you how to breathe, to create stasis and balance and harmony within your body. Let it guide you. If it's breathing a little fast in your mind, let your body know you are safe, you are supported, you are loved. And from this day forward, I plan on taking care, good care of you. If your heartbeat is too slow or you feel it's difficult to catch your breath, say to yourself, you deserve to be here. You are so worthy and you add so much value to this planet. You're talking to your inner child. If it's hard for you to say that to yourself, see yourself as a child, an innocent child, because at the core of all of us, that is still there. So as you just connect with your spine and your inner child and breathe with the rhythm of your body and speak life into this system. Because today, we're going to push back some of this darkness. And we're going to ground right now from a heart-centered space. So generate, create, and imagine a strong, resilient, gladiator-type grounding cord from the center of your chest all the way down to the core of Mother Earth. It's strong, uniform all the way down, 6 inches in diameter, moving through the solar plexus, the sacral, the sacrum. Our back is straight. Our spine is regulated, our nervous system. As we root ourselves in the knowingness and the wisdom that we're meant to be here. This is our planet. And we're here to add value. It's time to wake up. So ground from a place of knowingness, of wisdom, of knowledge, of you knowing that you got this. Call in golden, heart-shaped scrubbing bubbles, blanketing the inside and the outside of this grounding cord, which is from the heart all the way to the core of Mother Earth. So what are we doing? Simultaneously, we are cleaning off these 4 chakras, moving out the past, disease, illness, judgment, labeling, feeling unsafe, fear, cowardice. We're moving it all out. Lack of creativity, blocks, secrets, shrinking, smallness. Move it out. Move it out. Open those feet chakras, call in that 15% earth energy. Open up the crown. Visualize, feel it. Bring in that 85% cosmic gold life force energy. Let this move through the physical body, the physical body, spiritual body. Let it move through. Feel it. Let all of this intangible energy work into those atoms, bringing in health, wellness, wholeness, bringing in gratitude, unconditional love, unspeakable beauty, worthiness. Bring it in. All of this insecurity, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, it has no place anymore in your body, in your environment. Let it go, let it out, fill up with gold. You are grounded from a heart-centered space of unconditional love and unspeakable beauty. You are a soldier of the quantum now. It's time to put the darkness on notice. Period. We don't want you here any longer. Thank you. We've learned all the powerful and positive lessons from the struggle, the war, the famine, the poverty. Thank you very much. But now we're bringing the light. So what do? We open up our heart chakras, double doors, while this energy runs through our bodies. We clean out what it is that no longer serves us. We move it down the grounding cord. We open up our brow chakra. We put those roses outside our aura to the right and to the left, 10 feet away from us, cleaning out the center of our head of all negative thought, limiting belief, people, jealousy, envy, strife, judgment, labeling. Put it in the roses outside your aura. Put the people there, the places, the things. Golden sun above our head, filled up with what? Unconditional love and unspeakable beauty above our higher self. If your higher self isn't there, call it above you, standing above your crown in the power position. Pull your aura in 1.5 feet around you and snap in your astral body. If you haven't already done that, let's do it. Let's let this energy run through our bodies right now. Our heart is open. We're sending out love. We're sending out positive life force energy from our body because it is running through us. So now, from our mind's eye, from the third eye that is clean, we're filling up with gold light. The center of our head should be clean. Blow up those roses. Give them a push 10 feet away from you. Blow them up. Turn them into positive, creative life force energy for anyone to use. Put a golden sun above your head. Again, fill it up. Bring it down. See your higher self reach up. Pull it down through your crown, through your body. Boom. Move it down that grounding cord all the way from the heart, all the way down into the core of Mother Earth. This gold light goes. Why? Bringing that gold light into the grounding cord to bring the grounding cord into the present moment that's clean, clear, filled with gold light, rooted, grounded into Mother Earth. As this life force energy, gold, 85% runs through your body, 15% earth, cleaning you out and allowing for that energy of unconditional love and unspeakable beauty to pour out of your heart into your environment. Now that we are here in this connected state, I'd like for you to visualize two timelines, two lines. One of extreme light, a very small line of extreme, beautiful, unconditional love and light. It's just a line, it's a timeline. Underneath it, it's going to be another timeline. And this timeline here, it doesn't shine quite as bright. And in fact, it's artificial light. It's there to deceive you. This is the darkness. The light line, space, the artificial light line. What we are going to do is we're going to visualize this bright, natural, unconditional, loving light and unspeakable beauty. We're going to see this expand. Expand, 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 expand. It's like a light beam now. I want you to visualize this. Your heart is open. And I want you to see this light beam come down on top of this artificial light, absorbing it, transmuting it, just eating it, turning it into positive creative life force energy, unspeakable beauty, unconditional love. all of these light beams, all of us, any curses, any spells, any contracts, any agreements our ancestors, our genes, our DNA have ever made with this artificial light, this darkness, this deception, we now resolve and dissolve. We roll it back. We want it no longer. We replace that with the original light of the divine, the pleroma, unconditional love, the beginning. Any vows, contracts, agreements any humankind has made on our behalf, we rebuke, we reject, we resolve, we dissolve. No longer. No longer. We are going back into a state of purity, of unconditional love and unspeakable beauty. And I'm going to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until every cell and atom in our bodies and in our environment understand and resonate with that vibration. Your past is no longer. Who you were is no longer. You are a being of light and blessings, and we step into that energy and we transmute the negativity. Focus and concentrate on the light. Take action to bring light into your environment. See it now from a heart-centered space as you are grounded and rooted from a place of love. As this earth energy and this unconditional love runs through your body, giving you the creative energy and the magic that you need to transmute your environment. Let's let it go. The darkness, we're pushing it back with our gladiator grounding cords. Why? Because we ain't warring here. We're opening our hearts and we're loving, because that darkness cannot stand the love. So sit in love and smile and be happy and be joyful here. The passive aggressive energy that comes at you, the aggressive, smile. Get curious about why you're coming at me like that and spread that love out there. Don't let this stop you. Keep moving as that love pours out of your heart, paving the way towards your highest good. It is time. This light grid, another visualization, see it overtake the grid, the artificial grid. Push back this darkness by opening up your heart, the portal between your heart and your mind, but opening your heart up and sending out unconditional love and unspeakable beauty and saying, I let go of the struggle. I let go of the low self-esteem, the unworthiness. I let go of the programming, the conditioning, and I step into the light. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and relax. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. And just feel what it feels like right now to be present and alive, filled with light. Gladiator grounding, pushing back the darkness within you and us and within this environment. Take another deep breath in. Exhale and relax. Bring your awareness back to your spine. Breathe in light. Breathe out light. Breathe in light. Visualize the bottoms of your feet closing like the lens of a camera. But Mother Earth energy stays right there beneath your feet. She's got you. Breathe in light. On the exhale, you want to close your hands and allow for that creative energy. See it moving through your pores like little light beams or little stardust coming out of your arms. Just so much unconditional love and creativity. You artists, we need you. Start writing, start creating and drawing and painting and building. We need you. Take another deep breath in, breathe in the light, and on the exhale, gently and slowly close the crown. Breathe in the light, and on this next exhale, we're going to close the double doors of the heart. And just take a minute to come back into our bodies fully and open our eyes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jolie. I could feel that. I really could feel that.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Fantastic.
thank you.
Yeah.
John, how do we tell them about our moon alchemy? I think this is a great time to kind of talk about
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
it.
Yeah, the moon alchemy thing, which we've begun, and we've got a bunch of them out there at the moment for different people. It's an offering which is about creating a new reality, and it's using the energy of the moon cycle. So it goes back to the old Gnostic traditions of many, many years ago, but it's tapping into something that has been deliberately suppressed. And it's powerful. It is really powerful. And in fact,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do, I'll attach the video to the end of this show, or I'll put it in the details below. Actually, for anybody who wants to look at it, we've got a little, like, less than 3 minute video, and just to kind of give you an idea what we're doing with this. Obviously, for our purposes, we want to try and create an income stream from this as well, which makes Elevated Planet sustainable and allows us to grow in the future. So for what we do with this, creating 2 different meditations for you, and this includes you. You're involved in this process. We'll have a Zoom call. Jolie and I'll have a Zoom call with you. We do some recording. We create and curate these 2 meditations for you. We support you with a WhatsApp group, a 3-person WhatsApp group, you and Jolie and I, for the entire moon phase of 28 days, from the new moon all the way through the waxing phase, through to full moon, then through the waning phase. If it sounds interesting, now, just to say, what we ask for this is a donation to Elevated Planet. The donation suggested amount, and it's not a set amount, is $111. Okay. But we don't want price to get in the way of this. This is too
Right.
important for that. So what we say is that if that is just too much money, and I know that many people are stretched with budgets, don't, give us what you feel is the right value for you, and we will do it for you. That's it. So we want to
Yes.
reach people. We want to give people the opportunity to create this beautiful, as Jolie and I always talk about, this world of unspeakable beauty. And it's a question of,
Mhm.
what does your version of a world of unspeakable beauty look like for you? Is it a relationship thing? Is it a family thing? Is it, I don't know, is it abundance? Is it the perfect job? Is it it can be whatever you want it to be. So you are creating your new reality. It's super powerful. And we feel it works, don't we, Jolie?
Yes, it is. It's like I said, to really get in that subconscious and to reprogram what's going on in there, because we've through our mankind evolving, we know that the subconscious mind is akin to the software or the hardware, whatever you put in the programming. And the conscious mind is just the monitor. So it's only going to show you or give you what's in that subconscious mind. So to really change your environment, we got to dig deep into that. And that's what that meditation is able to do. Especially when you listen to it before bed, it takes you into that theta brainwave, which is doing just that, which is reprogramming that subconscious. So it's a powerful means of helping yourself, and cumulatively over time, you will definitely see a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, because I do that, I do it last thing at night. Or if I wake up at 3 in the morning and I'm not disturbing anybody, I'll find a
Right.
place and actually put it on, because I'm still in that theta state. And it's really, or first thing in the morning, again, that's another great time to use it. And it's repetition, but it's so much fun, because when
Mhm.
you are hearing yourself talking about your world of unspeakable beauty created in this beautiful way, it's so uplifting. It puts this smile on your face. It just makes you feel so happy.
Yeah.
And it's just getting you into that space. I'm loving it. So a note here from Sean again. She says, "Whoa, absolutely spectacular, my friend. You are a very powerful being." That's you. That's you,
Thank you.
Jolie.
Oh, thank you.
She says, "I'm so happy to be here." And we're so happy to have you here with us, Sean. She's a super talented lady there, right there. And we're honored to have her as part of our community as well. Okay, so should we get into wrap up?
Yes. As
Okay.
always, I just want to lay on the table again. Please like, share, and subscribe. Um, we feel like the algorithm is got us in a camp of I don't know, we're in prison. So we need to be bust out of algorithm prison. So please help us get out there. Okay?
We blame it on the Illuminati. It's
Yes, of
definitely the
course we do.
Illuminati. That's how good we are. We get the Illuminati focusing on us, not
Yeah.
allowing our algorithm to work in our favor. Um, but anyway, Cecilia, thank you so much. Great, she said, great info and presentation and a wonderful meditation. Thank you so much for all you do. Much love, light, and gratitude. Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you.
We do appreciate you. And again,
Yeah.
from Sean, you guys are amazing. I can't even express my gratitude in words. I hope you guys can feel it. Thank you again. We
Thank
feel
you.
your energy.
Yeah.
She has fantastic energy.
Yes.
Get a chance, check her out on Cottage of the Priest. And that is amazing energy and amazing light language that she just comes out with. It's just like plucks it from the air. I'm pretty sure she was kind of linked somehow to Hermes Trismegistus, uh,
Yeah.
Melchizedek consciousness. That is Sean. Anyway, thank you, Jolie. We're going to be,
Thank you.
I suppose I better say, we're going to put the newsletter out tomorrow. We're going to try
Yeah.
something new this next week. What I'm going to do is break the show into 3 different sections this time. So we're always going to have the meditation sidelined as its own unit, but I'm going to break the show into sort of 3 lots. So we'll still have the live show that's there in its totality, and then anybody can go and see it from start to finish there. But then we'll have 3 sections: part 1, part 2, the meditation as a standalone, and that way we get the information out there in more bite-sized chunks. And we're going to give that a go this time around. So just to let you know. Anybody who wants to join our distribution list, drop me an email to johndrew@elevatedplanet.life. Once again, the elevatedplanet.life website is in the garage at the moment, up on the ramps, getting seen to. So it's going to be a few weeks before that's back online again. So you don't need to go to there. You just come to us, johndrew@elevatedplanet.life, and we will respond to any request that you may have. So I think that's it, Jolie. Would you agree?
Yes. Yes, I agree. Thank you all for joining us again. Thank you, John. This is wonderful. So much value.
Thank you, Jolie. And yeah, absolutely, for your contribution. Love it to bits. Anyway, thank you, community. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you in a few days' time for those who can make the Pam Gregory meditation on Thursday.